Christ says, if anyone would follow me, he must take up his cross and follow me. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what would a man give in return for his soul? And I think this is a text that gets misunderstood a lot. Maybe gets interpreted in some odd ways. But I think we need to see it in light of a passage in Hebrews that talked about the devil being the one who wields the power of death, and that our slavery to sin, is a product of the fear of death. Because the reality is, every one of us who's born into this world is going to, at some point, if we live for very long at least, going to face suffering, and eventually is going to face death. We're going to face struggles, we're going to face difficulties, we're going to face hardships, both from our own sin and from the sin that's out in the world. And we can't avoid it. It's not like we can just opt not to do it. Sometimes people talk about taking up the cross as if the other option is, oh, well, I just won't suffer. I'll just have a happy, nice life. That's not reality. The reality is the actual alternative that pretty much all of us, I think, and especially me, fall into is the fear of suffering, hardship, and struggle and death, and therefore the avoidance of it at all costs. And we find different ways to avoid it. Some of us think, well, if I could just get enough money, then I'll be safe. I can protect myself. I won't have to suffer. Maybe I can even keep myself alive forever. I won't have to think about it. I won't have to worry about it. I can pad everything. Or we think if I could just get enough control of my life. Or we think, well, I can't get enough money, or I can't get enough control of my life to stop this stuff from happening, but I can forget about it. I can drink or drug myself into oblivion. I can immerse myself in entertainment to avoid at least thinking about it for hours and hours at a time. I can shut everything off and just avoid thinking about it until I'm absolutely confronted by it, and then I will escape from it and the thought of it as quickly as I possibly can. But that doesn't work. We don't actually gain the whole world. Christ is asking that as a rhetorical question. Even if that was successful, even if you got all the money in the world, you're rich as Croesus. Jeff Bezos was coming and asking to borrow money from you. What does that do for your soul? What does that do to stop you from having to face death, from having to face trouble and struggle and difficulty and suffering? Nothing. And you can't be blitzed out of your mind all the time, not without dying. And then you've run right into the thing you were running away from. So what Christ is presenting to us is a different path, and that path begins when we take the suffering of this life. We take the fact that someday we're going to die, and we shoulder it. We own up to it. We bear up under it. We accept it, and we go forward nonetheless. We remain faithful to God in what we do nonetheless. We engage in the struggles. We suffer the heartbreak. We suffer the pain and the difficulties of life. Because we're following Christ. We know the path that Christ took led him through unbelievable suffering. Not just talking about the cross. The rejection and alienation he faced his whole life. The ridicule by people. Culminating, of course, the horrific, nightmarish, torturous death that he suffered voluntarily. But we know that that's not the end of his journey. That's not the end of the road he walked. The other side of that death and that pain and that suffering was glory, was consolation, was joy that doesn't have an end, that exists in the world to come. None of the things of this world can save your life. And when the time comes that you face death, because you have to, and there's no way around it, you can't exchange all that stuff you've accumulated to try and get your life back. But if we follow Christ through the difficulties and pains of this world, through the struggles and the hardships that are all very real, and we continue following him, we will follow him through to the other side and enter into the light and the joy of Pascha and the resurrection and of a life that has no end.